Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Road to Percona Live. We are talking today about tutorials and what we see in the tutorials on Monday. We're really excited about those tutorials, and we hope you are as well.
And you want to be here on Monday, May 16th in Austin at the AT&T Convention Center for at least one of these sessions.
Well, yes, or the two special sessions we've covered, which are about the advanced topics and developer-related topics, also on Monday. So there is a ton of content. There was too much to fit into any one self-contained system, right? So we've just got so much stuff. And so today we're going to be covering tutorials, talking about what's out there, and hopefully helping you learn what some of those cool things are. All right, so Dave, I am looking at the tutorials and I'm sharing my screen with the world right now. So world, welcome to Tutorial Day. And you can see that the tutorials are split into 3-hour sessions. You've got the 9 o'clock and you've got the 1:30. And so we're going to be covering a ton of content in there. It's actually an hour or 3.5 hours, I think, for each.
You do get a break in between.
No breaks. Never, no breaks. No breaks. Yeah, actually, no, I think they are 3.
Yeah.
But so you can see that there is topics on MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB,
XtraDB cluster,
PMM. So there's a little bit of everything. Yeah. And I think that kind of looking at this broad spectrum, I think that we've got some really good topics, right? So obviously, anytime we're talking about cloud native databases, people are thinking MongoDB. MongoDB is very popular. And so we've got a MongoDB 101 tutorial for cloud native applications. And that one's going to be really kind of a cool session. We've got a couple of folks from Percona who are going to cover this. So how do you deploy a MongoDB cluster from scratch? How do you configure the cluster? How do you scale it out? How do you do backups? How do you do monitoring? How do you do upgrades? All these different topics are going to be covered, but it's also going to cover how to connect that into a Kubernetes environment and how do you deploy it as an application developer, just like you would your apps.
Okay. Also, we have high availability with Percona XtraDB cluster. Matthew Bean, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. XtraDB cluster is the de facto standard for high availability, and he's going to cover the setup and the inner workings of how Galera, the underlying technology, works. He's going to go over the various gotchas. There's all sorts of things that he's going to keep you out of those potholes if you come to the session. And then he's going to talk about how to get ultimate high availability by using proxy SQL.
Right. Yeah. And, next, your friend and mine, LaFred, is going to be talking about MySQL architectures and how to design the right solution for your needs, because there are lots of options.
Yes.
Right. And so figuring out which one is the best for your needs is often critical.
And that is also at the same time as Postgres high availability with Patroni. And the MySQL's kind of had a better track record with high availability than Postgres. And in the past several years, that whatever gap lead they had there is kind of closed up. And Patroni is a very interesting technology. And he is going to talk about how to implement it with the budget we have, which is always the tricky part.
Well, and Charlie and I do a lot of live streams. We're going to be covering, high availability in the next few months here. And that one is a good pair with the XtraDB cluster because you've got 2 different types of high availability from 2 different types of databases. So if you're really looking at, how to do automatic failover, how to ensure that you're staying up, that's a really good one. And I think everybody's also looking for, not only how do they run highly available in Postgres, they're also looking how do they get out of Oracle? How do they get out of some of these other databases, right? And I think that leads us to the next topic, which is all about the internals for Postgres for the Oracle and the MySQL DBAs and beginners. So what do we know about those internals of Postgres? So if you want to get a deep dive into that, and learn why things are happening the way they are in Postgres and compare them, Avi's going to be talking, and Avi's the CEO over at MigOps. Great speaker, someone who's been a long time in the community.
And then a longtime community member, Colin Charles, is talking about the complete MariaDB tutorial. So we're covering a lot of different stuff in the morning.
Yeah, MariaDB, Postgres, MongoDB, clustering, high availability. Woo,
Yes.
a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good value there.
And that's just the morning.
Yeah. And, the comparison, you've got PXC, Percona XtraDB cluster, you've got Galera-based solutions, but you also have the InnoDB cluster. And so InnoDB cluster is the clustering software that's out there for MySQL 8. Actually, I think it started in 5.7. And we've got a great tutorial on how to get started and talking about some of those differences. So it's something that I would recommend folks who are interested in learning about high availability in the MySQL space to go take a look.
And also we have Let It Go, Golang for DBAs. If you haven't played with Go yet, it's a different design. There's some things that if you come from an assembly language or C background, as I did.
Dave, don't date yourself.
Well, the gray hair kind of does that for me. Go has a lot of interesting stuff going for it. Bad Dave.
Wow. He just went there.
If you want to really get into this, this is a great session for it.
And honestly, Go is probably the hottest programming language out there now. More and more people are looking for Go developers than any other language I've seen.
Yeah, it's better on your resume than Rust, because a lot of companies see the word Rust and think,
oh no, Go is the one. Dave, you're being a lot of punny today. You're being a punny Dave.
Yes.
And I think that not only is Go great, but you've also got more Postgres stuff. And so Bruce is our longtime EDB VP there. He is a core contributor to Postgres. He's going to be giving us the Mastering PostgreSQL Administration tutorial.
Bruce is an amazing presenter. And if I wasn't talking at the same time, this is the room I'd be in. Bruce is one of those folks that even if you don't do Postgres, you will come away gaining IQ points because he just leaks them all over the place.
Yes, Bruce has a long history and a huge library of awesome content.
And an odd fact, he's probably the only person in the entire database world that looks good wearing a bow tie.
Wow.
Yes.
Punny Dave. All right. Moving right along. So Michael Colburn, who has often been a guest on my podcast and live streams, he's going to be giving us an overview of PMM from a performance optimization and monitoring standpoint. So if you are interested in database monitoring, and you should be, this is going to be a great session for you to get a basis for PMM.
Now, the next session, Percona platform hands-on. For those of you who really want to sit there and type along with the instructor, we'll introduce you to the new Percona platform. What do you want to say about the platform?
Well, I think from a platform perspective, this is Percona's kind of foray into providing assisted services, to providing ease of use to the databases, trying to equalize the playing field. We're going to bring things like management features. You could do backups. You can do a few other things. We're going to bring the database as a service aspect, so you can run your own database as a service on Kubernetes and get that same point and click interface. Plus, we're going to be bringing in advisors from our experts, where it will advise you and tell you, like, hey, you might want to tune this. Hey, this isn't set correctly.
Guy that pops up.
It's like a robot DBA, right? I like to call it RoboCop, right? It's like you're clicking the buttons, but RoboCop, the computer side of the brain, is telling you what you should be doing.
Okay. And our final tutorial is tuning Postgres for read-write scalability. For those of you who are new to the database world, things work great for the first 6 months on just about anything, and then you start running into choke points where things either reading off disk or writing it to disk begins to slow you down. And the two presenters we have are two Perconians, and they're going to walk you through all you have to do to get your Postgres humming.
There you go. And now you can see that this is, lots of tutorials, lots of cool education. If you come, you're going to learn something, right? And if you don't learn something,
it's on you.
It's on you, right? The opportunity to learn and to get better is there. It's super exciting. We hope to see you there. And until the next Road to Percona Live, we'll see you later.
Adios, amigos.